What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. This week it's Startup, episode 13 and 14. Let's get into it.
So Team HJP and Team Do San is going strong. Literally in the comment section, it is dead heat, tied.
Yes.
You guys have done such an amazing job. I think we all have, well, some of us have second lead syndrome, including me. But, you know, in the past couple of episodes, things have changed just a little bit.
Just a little bit. The dynamic has shifted over the past 3-year time lapse or the time jump that they made between 12 and 13. But there's an interesting thing I want to point out. She's starting to come to the realization that she values her personal time with Do San a lot more than she initially did. I think, you know, it was in her mind, it was in the back of her mind. He's not the person that wrote her the letters. He's not the one that she's in love with, you know, and that was always looming in the back of her mind, right? But in the beginning of this episode, when we saw both of them kind of reminiscing and looking back at their time together, I think she was starting to realize that she was missing those moments, that personal time with him. Slowly but surely, the value in those letters faded into the background, and it was more about like, you know, her valuable time with him in person, and that, you know, started to rise up and the letters went down.
Yeah, I think that could be a very important question, right? Like, 3 years have passed. Our trio of Samsung Tech has matured, become a little bit more sophisticated, drinking wine and having a daily vlog. They have a yacht, but now they have traveled back to Korea and has decided to stay. But all of this growth, right? You pointed out whether Dal Mi, how much growth has she, you know, kind of accomplished? How much growth has Do San accomplished? I think they're both missing each other's company, and I think I agree with you as much as I don't want to agree with you right now, because all these 3 years, HJP is like, he's the lead, it's 9th inning, 2 outs, 2 strikes, right? And he hasn't swung the bat yet. Yeah. Like, just as as Young-gil,
his metaphor.
Yeah, just as Young-gil pointed out to him, it's like, you haven't done anything, right? And he's wasted all this time. And now he's suddenly decided to, you know, buy a present to confess his feelings once again, I guess. I don't know how many times he has to do it. But Dal Mi, as you pointed out, those letters really doesn't matter anymore, does it?
Yeah, it really didn't. And back then, it kind of had this polarizing view in her mind, especially since that whole controversy with it being unauthentic and just being a ruse all this time. But, you know, as she starts to see how successful he is and start to look back at all of the great times they had, you know, she's not thinking about those letters anymore. You know, she's thinking about all their times together. And then he's in Sandbox, and she thinks that she sees like a silhouette or catches him in her peripheral vision, and she has a breakdown. She has like a semi breakdown, and she goes and chases after someone and, you know, spills coffee on her shirt. She's like, oh, it's not you. And so like, when I saw that, I was just like, you have some like buyer's remorse or whatever.
Buyer's remorse. I think
whatever
both,
that term.
I think they're both going through it, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're both. They can confess to each other, or they can say things that would make them feel better that they have gotten over it. These 3 years have done them good, but to be honest, Do San hasn't gotten over it. Neither has Dal Mi.
Yes.
Right. All of these things to the side right now. A lot of things have happened in 3 years. Grandma Choi's eyesight it's deteriorating. Right, and then HJP is becoming kind of like this friend zone. I think he's like stuck in this friend zone, and it's unfortunate, right? Like, what can you do? He hasn't swung the bat. Yeah,
I mean, I was thinking about this the whole time I was watching it, especially when I think about, you know, you being Team HJP. He definitely kind of missed his shot, and I think it solely has to do with how he confessed in the beginning. Before the 3-year gap, he confessed with eating noodles, all nonchalant, and he was just like being himself. But at that moment, he didn't expect an answer, and I don't think Dal Mi had an answer for him. And then fast forward to 3 years, I'm looking at him just kind of like, you know, mosey along and just not necessarily, he's not like valuing the time he has.
Well, we don't know that. Of course, like the 3 years, the time lapse it's gotten to this point. He even alluded to it again when he had to make the skewers, right? Where he's like, I want to be the person that you think of first, like all the time.
Well,
but,
I mean, I don't mean to say he doesn't value the time, but he is not taking advantage of the time.
Or he hasn't.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, he's kind of inserted himself or gilded himself in this friend zone cage where he's just kind of content with being with her in Korea and just being close to her. And there's no sense of urgency. There's no pep in his step. He's not like, trying to close the deal.
Yeah. Among all the things that has happened in this time lapse, Dal Mi is now CEO of Chungmyung Company, which is with Injae they work on self-driving cars.
And she's now calling Injae Oni, like, well, outside of the office, but
that's another thing that's been like evolving too. Mother is living with Grandma Choi and Dal Mi. Injae is now like slowly the relationship. No, well, not slowly, but in the 3 years, the relationship has definitely gotten better out of mutual respect, and of course they're siblings, right? They're sisters. Going back to when Dal Mi was seeing silhouettes of him, she was going through so much pressure, and the biggest thing about Dal Mi right now, like, yes, everyone has grown, but her ability to be a CEO is still in the way. Her decision making with her emotions like getting in the way sometimes, like it's still getting in the way. What about Han Ji-pyong and Dal Mi? No. Han Ji-pyong and Do San in the elevator scene. After all the way before that, because there was this ransomware that happened, and I just wanted to say that it's got to be the siblings that quit all of a sudden. For sure. Yeah,
like that was the first thought, especially when Do-san, Chul-san, and Young-san all showed up, and Saha, they all showed up to help, and they were like, "What are they doing? I quit." Like, what? Of course you're behind it, right? I thought it was a great show of a knight in shining armor, so to speak. He's not like, he wasn't, planning this. But of course, at the first drop of a pin where Dal Mi is in danger or kind of in distress, he's all like, he's dropping his mom off like on the curb. Just, I don't know if she was at her destination or not, but he dropped her off, turned around, and went to Dal Mi's rescue.
Yeah, I don't think I would ever do that in real life. I would definitely make sure I drove my mom all the way to her destination.
For sure.
Guys, don't do that. This is a drama, obviously. But all of that culminated into her being in such emotional distress where he leaves his jacket there. He goes down outside of Sandbox, comes back, and crisscrosses with Han Ji-pyong. He pushes him into the elevator and does the honorable thing.
Before that happens, though, she's under the impression that he's just there on vacation.
Oh, yes.
And during that whole gap between the elevator and the rescue, they decided to stay. So a lot has changed within that time span, and then they get to the elevator. This is where I thought Hanji just crossed a line. Completely crossed a line. And I was thinking of Flip the whole time. I was like, you don't do that. This is not something you do. And even though he owned up to it and admitted it to Dal Mi, he let the thought still linger in Do San's mind. And so that caused a rift between them that was manufactured by Hanji.
I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one. That was very dirty of Han Ji-pyong, but if I can defend him for just a little bit, it's his time to bat. He's got to go up there, 9th inning, 2 outs, 2 strikes. It's his turn to swing the bat. I don't know if that's really called swinging the bat, but he did what he had to do out of selfish reasons, right?
Yeah,
it's all very selfish, but this was for him. He was trying to protect his relationship with Dal Mi. Now, all of a sudden, this evil man has come back to haunt him. But yes, I think it was overall just a dirty tactic. I don't agree with doing that, but maybe out of desperation, you do things sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, definitely not going to defend his actions, but, he did have to swing the bat. It's a difference between hitting a home run with the bases loaded versus trying to take the hit, purposefully just to get a base. Yeah. But in any case, that really created a rift between Dal Mi and Do San, and they had a falling out where, Injae wanted to, hire these people back after losing the twins and gave her almost an ultimatum, right? You need to hire them or you're going to be fired because, we need these developers. And then there was this kind of like nuance there where she caught on to Dal Mi saying like, I don't want to bog him down. It's like, what do you think of our company? Like,
and that goes back to her ability being a CEO.
Absolutely.
You know, she doesn't represent the company and herself and the people within it with absolute trust and confidence.
Yes.
And so she has to it's another journey for herself to find that confidence again, and with Do San to find and rekindle that relationship again. I just wish that I always had like an old shack that I could just go escape to and just start putting some wood on fire and you know, just relax and clear my mind. But obviously 30% of it is Dal Mi making the trip to the 70%. Shack. 70%? No,
Yes.
it all adds up to 70%, doesn't it?
If she shows up, right? They said that was 30%.
Yeah.
If she makes the trip, it's 70%. What about the 30%? That is Do San.
Exactly.
I do want to touch on, and this may make Team Han Ji-pyong happy, I do want to drag Do San a little bit. I'm gonna drag him because although I thought he did the right thing with the information he was working with, you know, I don't want to be confused anymore. I don't want to see you again. And I thought that was understandable, but I was like, in my mind, I was like, no, Do San, what are you doing, man? You gotta give her a chance. But of course, I'll always give Susie a chance. But in the end, you know, they reconnected at his uncle's house or his uncle's cabin. And I mean, yeah, what do you think?
Had his conditions, and now he's part of the company. Like he acquired some shares. I don't know if it's shares, but acquired parts of the company so that he has ownership to it. And now they're all back working together. Everyone is happily ever after. I don't know, but I think it's just Do San. I don't know if he covered the whole 30%, the whole remaining 30%. It's probably like
maybe
20%, and there's 10% left for that relationship to spark again. But
I'm looking for these small touches, these small nuances. When he was giving her the piggyback ride across that bridge, and you know they had resolved what his conditions were, and afterwards, very small gesture. She tightened her grip and then rested her head on his shoulder, and I was like, I think that filled the 30%. I think she's feeling it again.
I think they're both feeling it. As hard as it is for me to admit it, I think Team Han Ji-pyong here, I'm hoping for a happy ending for him as well, but like I'm pretty sure that this is going to end up Do San and Dal Mi.
Absolutely, and I do have to give Han Ji-pyong some credit. He did, in fact, as he was talking to Young Sun about, the advice of whether to start up again or join a partner, the question came up, should they join ChulJung? And he was like, as a man, no. As an investor, you make a great partner. I give him a lot of credit for at least giving him that much.
He may never, ever really swing that bat. I think he's just, like I said, I think I'm hoping for him to have some sort of happy ending.
I do think there's someone out there for him.
Not in the show. But there is somebody for Chul San.
StartUp too. Yes, Chul San. If we can't come to an agreement on Team Do San or Han Ji-pyong, we're definitely Team Chul San and Sahan. What are we calling Sahan? Chulha?
Chasan?
Chulha Sasan?
Miss Jung Hasan?
Saha and Chul San are the cutest would-be couples of this show. I mean, I've been rooting for them ever since he had shown at least some inkling of like a crush on her. But ever since she had reciprocated some kind of like, oh no, he's not pursuing me anymore, he's not chasing me, I kind of like him. She shows up to the restaurant all nonchalant and, kind of hiding it. Oh, I was here with my friends. Yep. And then he shows up to her workplace and they're just kind of like trading blows at this point when they're at this lunch. She finds out that he did not need English tutoring and he finds out that she didn't show up by chance. And
listen, this is all foreplay, right? Like, yeah. Of course, I would have to admit also that Chul San is not the best at foreplay, and Miss Jung is like, she knows what she's doing. You know, she is a seductress, and we both know at this point that she is also interested. Yes. Now it's just whoever makes the last 10% or the move to, you know, really solidify that knot.
I think they're gonna converge together because she's the one that wants him to make the move, and he's the one that just doesn't have the move to make. And so he's just gonna continue to be like, and then she's gonna continue to give hints, and then eventually they're gonna kiss. So when all is said and done, I think I've planted my roots in Team Do San, and I think it's the right place to be. I think Dal Mi is now realizing, as I've mentioned many times in this reaction, she values her one-on-one time with Do San more than 15-year-old letters, now 16, 18-year-old letters.
And I don't think they've really gotten to that talk about like those words that were said. I mean, they kind of alluded to it here and there, but I'm pretty sure Dal Mi regretted saying all those words, although she did it for Do San, so Do San can go and have his own journey and growth herself as well, so that, you know, she can have her own growth and journey. But it's almost like restarting again after all these years, and it's gonna happen. I think it's bound to happen. As sad as I am to say, with Team HJP, never got to swing the bat.
It's an allegory for the title of the show, right? Everything's a startup, and they're just going to, the letters was a startup, and now this reunion after a 3-year gap is also another startup, and there's going to be more hardships. But of course, I think ultimately my outlook on this show, going into the last 2 episodes, I think ultimately they were meant for each other. I think the story was going to serve that purpose, and Do San and Dal Mi were going to be together, and the letters was just going to be that trigger, that catalyst that pushed them together. And HJP, I don't know, man. He might meet someone. Who knows? We'll see.
It should happen, right? Like, come on, Team HJP, we've got to come through. We've got to have some sort of happy ending. We'll have to admit defeat here, guys. Anyway, that is it for us, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave us a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave your comments in the section below. And once again, I hope you guys have an amazing, amazing week. We'll see you next time.